Hello, everyone. This is Luba Gentry here, and I'm presenting lesson one out of my series Express Citizenship with Luba, which is a 6-lesson course to prepare you for your citizenship interview, and it's targeted for people who want to become U.S. citizens. Your interview will have two parts, the civics test and the English test. For the civics test of this lesson, I would like you to get familiar with early American history, independence, a Declaration of Independence, American geography, and holidays. And to do that, I recommend you to read some material from the Citizenship Test booklet, which you can find by clicking on this link right here. And if you do, you will be able to also download this booklet to your computer. So for this lesson, I want you to read Unit 1, 2, and 4. And I even wrote pages for you that I want you to go over. Reading is totally optional. So if you want, you can read it. If not, you don't have to. But you will have to study 100 questions, and out of the list of 100 questions for this lesson, I want you to go over numbers 8, 9, 58 through 64, 87 through 100. And let's take a look at these questions. A lot of them have several answers, and all of them are correct. The ones that I believe it is easier for you to remember, I highlighted in yellow. So it is up to you to remember those that I picked for you, or if you think any other answer is easier for you to remember, please feel free. Question number 8, what did the Declaration of Independence do? And I picked this answer for you, said that the United States is free. I want to draw your attention to the things you see in brackets. You do not have to memorize the E's. If you do, that's fine, but if you don't, that's also absolutely fine. So you can say, said that the United States is free from Great Britain, or you can just say, said that the United States is free. Question number 9, what are two rights in the Declaration of Independence? I want you to remember two words that begin with letter L, life and liberty. Next question, number 58. What is one reason colonists came to America? And I picked the answer for you, which is freedom. You can see it highlighted in yellow. Next one, number 59. Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived? You can memorize American Indians or Native Americans. It's up to you. Number 60, what group of people was taken to America and sold as slaves? The answer I want you to memorize is in yellow, Africans. Next one, number 61, why did the colonists fight the British? Because of high taxes. That's all I want you to remember. You do not need to memorize what you see in brackets. So because of high taxes would be enough. Number 62, who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Jefferson. So you just can remember the last name Jefferson. Number 63, when was the Declaration of Independence adopted? Please remember this date, July 4, 1776. Number 64, there were 13 original states, name 3. And I give you the names of all 13. If you scroll down, you're going to see the rest of them. Okay, all 13. But you need to name just 3, and I picked the last 3 for you. I highlighted them in yellow. North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. But if you think any other 3 is easier to remember, please feel free. Number 87, name one American Indian tribe in the United States. And there is a lot of them in the United States. I did not mark any one of them. Please pick the one that is easier for you to remember. Next one, question number 88. Name one of the 2 longest rivers in the United States. I'm not sure which one is easier for you to remember. I marked them both, Missouri and Mississippi. You don't have to say river. Number 89, what ocean is on the west coast of the United States? Pacific. Number 90, what ocean is on the east coast of the United States? Atlantic. Number 91, name one U.S. territory. I picked Puerto Rico for you, but if you think any other is easier to remember, that's fine. Next one is 92. Name one state that borders Canada. And I marked Alaska. Next one, number 93. Name one state that borders Mexico. It's 4 of them. And one of them is the state that I live in. It's California. That's why I marked that one. Number 94. What is the capital of the United States? And I hope you know it's Washington, D.C. And you have to say it, D.C. Next one, number 95. Where is the Statue of Liberty? You can just say New York. Number 96. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? Because there were 13 original colonies. Number 97, why does the flag have 50 stars? I think the easiest answer is because there are 50 states. Number 98, what is the name of the national anthem? And to remember this name, you have to say it out loud many times. The Star-Spangled Banner, the Star-Spangled Banner, the Star-Spangled Banner. Next one, number 99. When do we celebrate Independence Day? I hope you know. It's July 4th. And number 100, name 2 national U.S. holidays. Please pick any 2 out of this list. So after they ask you civics questions, which is they are supposed to ask 10 questions at your interview. And to pass this part, you need to answer 6 questions correctly. They will move to the English test. English test. And I believe that they will ask you first to read one sentence in English and then to write one sentence. I give you sample sentences for reading and sample sentences for writing. I think that the sentence for reading at the interview will be always a question, and the sentence for writing will be the answer to that question. Now, you will see the question for reading on a computer screen or a pad, and you will have to write a sentence also on a pad. The officer will dictate a sentence for writing twice. Now, I want you just to practice the sentences for reading to read at home. The sentences for writing, you need to practice as many times as it takes to write them without any mistakes. Now, I'm going to be reading them in pairs. So number 1 for reading will be followed by number 1 for writing. Number 2 for reading will be followed by number 2 for writing. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1 for reading. Who was the first president? President is capitalized, and I suggest you capitalize that word anytime you hear it. Number 1 for writing. Washington was the first president. Number 2 for reading. What is the largest state? Number 2 for writing. Alaska is the largest state. Number 3 for reading. Who lived here first? Number 3 for writing. American Indians lived here first. Please capitalize American and Indians. Number 4 for reading. So you will see that sentence on the screen and you will read it out loud. What holiday is in November? Number 4 for writing, and the officer will dictate it for you twice. Thanksgiving is in November. Capitalize November because it's the name of a month. Number 5 for reading, who can vote? Number 5 for writing, citizens can vote. Citizens can vote. Number 6 for reading, what country is north of the United States? Number 6 for writing, Canada is north of the United States. So once you are done with this portion of the English test, which means you read a sentence correctly and you write a sentence correctly, the officer will start interviewing you on your Form N400. And in these lessons, we will cover part 1 through part 5 in N400, which is your application for citizenship. I placed a link here for you where you can look at the application and you can download it. But I will also be showing you the parts themselves, so it would be more visual for you to see what parts we're covering and what kind of questions will be asked while going over these parts. So part number 1 is information about your eligibility. The words that you see in green will be explained under the picture of the part, and the explanations are in English. But please remember, the officer is not going to ask you to clarify these words. They're not going to ask you for the meanings of the terms. These are provided for you just for better understanding. Okay. So in part number 1, they will try to figure out if you are really eligible for citizenship or not. And they may ask you these questions. What is your eligibility for citizenship? Or how are you eligible for citizenship? Your eligibility is based on several factors. First of all, you must be older than 18 years old, or you must be at least 18 years old or older. And on top of that, your eligibility falls into several categories. The most common one is category A, where you have been a lawful permanent resident of the United States for at least 5 years. So that means that you have had your green card at least 5 years or more. To find out if you are eligible or not, you need to look at the front of your green card, and on the bottom of the front, you are going to see a line that says resident since. So that's the date when you actually need to count if you are eligible for citizenship or not. Another category of people who are eligible for citizenship are spouses of U.S. citizens. But to be eligible under that category, you need to be a lawful permanent resident of the United States for at least 3 years. In addition to that, you need to be married to and living with the same U.S. citizen spouse for the last 3 years. And your spouse has to be a U.S. citizen for at least 3 years or more at the time when you file your application. So that's another category of people. You can also be eligible on the basis that you are a lawful permanent resident of the United States and you are a spouse of U.S. citizen, and your U.S. citizen spouse is regularly working outside of the United States. And that's category C. Another one is category D for people who are eligible to become U.S. citizens because they serve in the U.S. military. And there are some other reasons, but the most common one is A or B. So if they ask you, what's your eligibility for citizenship? You are going to say, and I will give you an example for people who fall under category A. I am that many years old and I have been a lawful permanent resident of the United States for that many years. And you're going to say the actual number of years. Okay. Now, they also may ask you, why do you want to become a US citizen? One of the answers, good answers, is I want to vote in a federal or state or any other election. Another reason you want to become a US citizen is because you want your minor children who are less than 18 years old to be US citizens. Once you become a US citizen, your minor children automatically become US citizens. Another good reason is once you become a US citizen, you will be able to petition for your family members to come and live in the United States. And one more is because you're going to have a US passport, and with US passport, you can travel all over the world, anywhere, any place, anytime, and it does not matter how long you are absent from the United States. And another reason is because you will be able to apply for federal jobs. So there is a lot of benefits to becoming US citizens, and I'm very happy for you to actually make your mind to become one. And I wish you good luck on you in this very exciting journey. Now let's look at part number 2, information about you. In this part, they will ask you for your name, which one of the questions can be, what is your full legal name? In this case, you need to say your last name, first name, and middle name if you have it. They may also ask you if you use a different name on your green card, because some people, they do have different spellings, or they use different names, let's say on driver's licenses or state issued IDs and green cards. They might also ask you if you have ever used any other names in your life, or have you ever used any other names since birth, including nicknames, aliases, or maiden names. So you will have to disclose that. Item number 4, there is a question here, would you like to legally change your name? And in the United States, in some states, you are allowed to legally change your name through naturalization or through the process of becoming a citizen. In some states, you are not, and California is one of those states. So for Californians, the answer to this question would be no. You would mark no. Would you like to legally change your name? You have to mark no. You cannot do it in California. In other states, you can mark yes. And then you will need to write how you want your name to look like after becoming a US citizen. For item number 5, they will ask a question, what is your social security number? And you need to remember it. Now, any information that you put in your N400 application, you have to memorize. You need to remember all of it when you go to the interview. I don't think they will ask you any question on item number 6 or item number 7, But for the date of birth, which is item number 8, they may ask, what is your date of birth? Or when were you born? What is your birthday? When is your birthday? For item number 9, they may ask you what is the date when you became a lawful permanent resident, or when did you become a lawful permanent resident? And that's the date on your front side of your green card on the bottom where it says resident since. Next one, for item number 10, they may ask, what is your country of birth? Or what country were you born in? For item number 11, they may ask, what is your country of citizenship? Are you still a citizen of, and they are going to name the country? Or they may ask, what is your nationality? Once again, please pay attention to the words that I highlighted in green. These are the words that I do want you to know and understand. They will not ask you for the meanings, but I provided the explanations or definitions of these words below the picture of the part that I placed here. So for item number 12, they may ask you, do you have any disabilities or mental impairments that we need to know about? So that's a yes or no question. Now, if you answered yes to this question, so you confirm that you have a disability or mental impairment, they will ask you to provide a form from your doctor. It should be certified by your doctor. It is a form N648, Medical Certification for Disability Exceptions, and it needs to be filed with your application form N400. Now, for item number 13, they may ask, do you have any exemptions from the English language test? And that's for people who are who belong to certain categories. Category A is for people who are 50 years of age or older and they have lived in the country for 20 years or longer. Category B is for people who are 55 years of age or older and they have lived in the country for 15 years or longer. And category C is for people who are 65 years of age or older and they have lived in the country for 20 years or longer. So if you belong to any one of these categories, you are going to mark yes. And that means you can actually not take the test, the English test. You can bring an interpreter with you to the interview, and or immigration services can provide their own interpreter, and you will be asked questions in your native language. All right. So if you marked yes, you belong to one of these categories, you can bring an interpreter with you to the interview. Now pay attention to the words that I provided below the picture of the part that we just looked at. Next one is part number 3, accommodations for individuals with disabilities and or impairments. So these people, they can actually use either some devices with them or other people that they can bring to the interview to make it more comfortable. So once again, this part is only for individuals with disabilities or impairments. And the question they may ask you for this part is, are you requesting an accommodation because of your disabilities and or impairments? Or they can say, do you need any accommodations for the interview? So these accommodations include wheelchairs, hearing aids for people who cannot hear, sign language interpreters, a walker. So any device or any other person that you're going to bring to the interview needs to be disclosed or documented in part number 3. Now, next part is part number 4, information to contact you. So that's for immigration services to know how to contact you in case of emergency. And of course, there are 2 ways. It's either your phone or your email address. And I highlighted them in green. Now, for this part, please provide one phone number. And I believe everybody has a mobile phone, so please give them your mobile telephone number and your email address. If you don't have one, please ask your relatives or your friends if you could use theirs, because now that everything is online, immigration services will be communicating with you via email. Now, the less information you put in the form, the less info you will need to remember for your interview. So if in this section you provide just one phone number, that's the one you will need to remember, right? Your cell phone number can be your daytime phone number, your evening phone number. So the less information you disclose on this form, the less info it is for you to remember for the interview. So make your life easier, okay? Part number 5, information about your residence. And in this part, please pay attention to the very first question they are asking you here. Where have you lived during the last 5 years? So you will need to disclose all of the addresses where you lived during the last 5 years. For people who are married to United States citizens, you will need to provide information only for the last 3 years. Okay. Now you are going to start with the current address. So the address where you live now. And the question they may ask you here can be, what is your current address? Where do you live? Do you still live at this and this address? And they may also ask for the dates. When did you start living at this place? And when did you stop living? When did you move in? When did you move out? Now, if they ask you for your address, please provide the full address right away, including your house number, the street name, the apartment number, city, state, and the zip code. If you give them your full address right away, that will exclude additional questions. And trust me, the less questions they ask, the better, because questions make you nervous at the interview. And when you get nervous, you may not understand, right? So please give them the full address, including everything. They may also ask you if your current mailing address is the same as your physical address, or they can just say, is your mailing address the same? And if you get your mail at your address, physical address, you just say yes. If not, you're going to have to provide the mailing address. Maybe it's your friend, maybe it's a P.O. box, maybe you get the mail at the post office. So you will have to provide it if it is different from the address that you provided in Part A. Now, if you moved a lot during the last 5 or 3 years, you will have to go back in time and tell the officer where you lived before your the address that you provided in Part A. That will be Part C. So you're going to provide the address, the prior or old or previous address. And the question here can be, where did you live before? What was your prior address? Or what was your previous address? When did you move there? When did you move out? So once again, any information that you provided on your form, you will need to memorize. You will need to keep it in your head. Now, if there is not enough space for you in N400 to provide information about all of your addresses during the last 5 or 3 years, you will need to use additional piece of paper. Okay. Now, again, the words that I want you to know, I placed below the picture of the part of the form that we just looked at. If you have any additional questions, you can call me or text me or email me at the address that you see on this page.